Opinion.
See Baker Mayfield throw 4 passes, but I get to see this homeless guy return a ball for a touchdown.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Tuesday night to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, our late night show. Are you kidding me? Ladies and gentlemen of Jacksonville, Florida, let me ask you a question at 10:02 Eastern Standard Time. Where else would you rather be right now on a Tuesday night from 10 o'clock to midnight than right here with Dylan Denmark and yours truly on Hacker After Dark? And we certainly do appreciate you staying up late with us each and every Tuesday. We got a ton to get into. We got some college football. We got some NFL. We got a little NBA and even a little high school football, as the landscape for high school football in the state of Florida when it comes to the postseason is going to look dramatically different beginning in 2024. Guest lineup looks like this. Coming up in less than 15 minutes, my buddy Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union will stop by. We'll recap Cleveland. We will preview Sunday Night Football against Baltimore with Demetrius Harvey. That comes up in less than 15 minutes. And later on in the 10 o'clock hour, we are past the quarter pole of the NBA season, the in-season tournament in the books. My Orlando Magic, maybe the biggest surprise of any NBA team. They are 16-7 through 23 games and in second place in the Eastern Conference. So one of my NBA guys, Zach Hanshu, RotoWorld.com, will stop by to look back on the first 2 months of the NBA season. We'll do some college ball in the 11 o'clock hour tonight. So we are absolutely jam-packed. We are glad you are with us. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night and Dylan Denmark. Let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal? What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
So last night, I made the comment when we started the show that Jaguar fans could sit back and watch their arch rival, the Tennessee Titans, just get pummeled by the Miami Dolphins. But shame on me, I forgot how much parity there is in the National Football League. Boy, that was something in South Florida last night. Miami up 14 with less than 3 minutes to go, up 13 rather, with less than 3 minutes to go, and they blow the game. Just completely blow the game. End up winning or losing 28-27. And it just goes to show you, and this is what I was talking about with Baloo a little earlier. You know, you think back in the American Football Conference, really for the last 25 years, I guess 20 years for sure. You know, Tom Brady in New England, right? Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. As of late, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. The dominant teams. Now, did those teams go to the Super Bowl every year? No. There was an occasional upset here and there. But by and large, going into the month of December and into the playoff season in January in the AFC, you knew who was going to have a great shot to go all the way to the Super Bowl. Do you know that right now in the AFC? I mean, can't you imagine Baltimore doing some damage in the playoffs? I can. I can also imagine Kansas City doing some damage in the playoffs. Even after last night, I can close my eyes and envision Miami making a run. Buffalo is getting hot right now. Could they do some damage if they get in? Of course. Like Baloo said, what about Denver, right? A Super Bowl head coach in Sean Payton? A Super Bowl quarterback in Russell Wilson? Cincinnati and Cleveland backup quarterbacks, but Cincinnati's absolutely pummeled Indianapolis after beating Jacksonville. They're on a 2-game winning streak. Cleveland's at 8-5. They just beat Jacksonville. Houston and Indy are still battling. Pittsburgh's right there at 7-6. And then the Jaguars sit at 8-5. 11 teams in the AFC, 7-6 or better, right now with 4 games to go in the regular season. It is parity at its finest. And that goes to show you with Jacksonville, bringing it back local. We talked about this last night. Yeah, the loss to Cincinnati stings. The loss to Cleveland was rough. But Jacksonville's right there. It's all right in front of them at 8-5. Right in front of them. And that brings me to the Baltimore game on Sunday night. Now, I already told you guys on the fifth quarter Sunday, and I'll repeat it every night this week, I'm not taking Jacksonville to win a high-profile game at home until they actually do. I'm going to have to be proven wrong before I pick them. I picked them to beat Kansas City, blew up in my face. I picked them to keep it close against San Francisco. Obviously, they did not. I picked them to beat Cincinnati, blew up in my face. And after Cincinnati, I said, I'm done. Will not pick them to win a home game again in a national showcase game this year until they do. And they have another opportunity on Sunday against Baltimore. But what I've found to be interesting, again, early in the week, but what I've found to be interesting so far is it seems to me a lot more people outside of Jacksonville, the national media that I've talked to, are picking Jacksonville to win against Baltimore much more than us locals are. I think there's more confidence from some national guys about Jacksonville winning Sunday night than there is amongst the locals here in Jacksonville. And what's interesting about that is many times maybe we're too close to the subject because we eat it, we live it, we breathe it every hour of every day when it comes to the Jaguars. I talked to two pretty well-respected NFL guys today, and we'll play those conversations later in the week here on Hacker After Dark, who both like Jacksonville to beat Baltimore and did not have any hesitation in saying that. They said they do not like the matchup for the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore likes to run the ball. What's the good thing Jacksonville is right now on defense? They play the run well. Their defense can't stop anybody through the air, but they're still pretty good on the ground. I guess last night, to sum it all up, it just reiterated when Tennessee beat Miami in Miami on a Monday night. By the way, that was Tennessee's first road win of the year, and I believe that was Miami's first home loss of the year. The AFC is wide open. The AFC is more wide open this year than it probably has been in 2 decades. When Tom Brady and Roethlisberger and Peyton Manning and Phillip Rivers and all these guys left, well, in came Burrow and in came Watson and in came Herbert and Mahomes and Lawrence and Lamar. Well, think about the guys I just named. Burrow, out for the year. Watson, out for the year. Herbert, out for the year. It is a battle of attrition in the AFC. Parity, unlike we've seen in a long time. 11 teams battling for those 7 playoff spots. It'll be a lot of fun down the stretch. And you know what? Jacksonville's right in the middle of it. They're right in the thick of it. It's all right in front of them to win a division championship, which would be 2 in a row, and to host a playoff game in round 1 of the NFL playoffs. That's the goal moving forward. Goals change. That's certainly my goal for the Jaguars. Number 1 seed, that's gone to me. To me, it's all about refocusing, getting some W's, winning the division, and seeing where the chips fall in the postseason. One last thing that happened this evening. Some Jaguar fans, again, I always remind myself that Twitter or social media is not real life. It is a vast minority of people. Most people listening to me right now, you probably are not on Twitter.
Twitter's a garbage can.
It really is, man. And I'm obsessed with it, but it just really frustrates me from time to time when it comes to the Jaguars. So Melvin Ingram signs with Miami earlier today. Now, this is not an anti-Melvin Ingram rant. It's really an anti-Jaguar fans just want to be mad at something So they picked Melvin Ingram today to be angry about. I think some Jaguar fans are honestly happier when they have something to complain about. Because reading some reaction to Melvin Ingram going to Miami today, you would think he's Reggie White. You would think he's Lawrence Taylor. You would think he was sitting on the throne just waiting on calls from every NFL team to come in and bless them with 10 sacks this last month of the year. Melvin Ingram is 34 years old. He has 10 sacks in the last 4 years. He hasn't played a football game in 11 months. And the only reason the Dolphins signed him today is because they're really beat up on their defensive line. Again, not an anti-Melvin Ingram rant, but a Jaguar fan social media rant that some of you guys just like to complain. Some of you guys, I guess, feel better when you have something to be angry about. If you're angry the Jacksonville Jaguars did not sign 34-year-old Melvin Ingram, who has not played a football game in 11 months, you're probably the same people that wanted the Jaguars to sign Justin Houston when he went to Carolina. Remember that, Denmark? Oh, Justin Houston. Why didn't we bring him in? You know what Justin Houston has done in Carolina this year? He has half a sack. Half a sack this year. You're not going to bring in 34-year-olds that are going to help your team on December 12th. So if you're angry that Trent Baalke and the Jaguars did not bring in Melvin Ingram, I don't have an answer for you. Get angry about something else. You're approaching the wrong argument. Do the Jaguars have a pass rush problem? Of course they do. Did I wish the Jaguars did something to address it prior to now? Of course I do. Would Melvin Ingram be the answer? Of course not. I truly believe that some of you on social media have been so beaten down by this franchise that you honestly feel better when you can complain about something or you have something to be upset about. And it's the holiday season. You really shouldn't be like that. Not getting 34-year-old Melvin Ingram 11 months on the couch coming into play for the Dolphins should not bother you as much as I saw it was with some of you earlier today. And look, if Melvin Ingram goes in there and has, 5 or 6 sacks, 4 sacks this month, I'll sit here and say I was wrong. But I would highly, highly doubt that is going to happen. 641-1010 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. If you want to shoot us a text, you are more than welcome to do so. Again, talking NBA, Zach Hanshu, rotoworld.com. That comes up in about 30 minutes or so. Coming up next, Demetrius Harvey, Florida Times-Union. He was up in Cleveland on Sunday. We'll react to the Browns, but more so we'll begin to turn the page and preview Sunday Night Football. First time in a long time coming to Jacksonville with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Tuesday night, Jacksonville, Florida. We're glad you're with us. Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
He is tough. He sets the tone. If the O-line is the backbone of the offense, then a back injury could be a backbreaker.
Oh, boy, this is starting to get ugly.
Listen for the personal injury attorneys Farah and Farah Injury Update on 1010XL.
Jacksonville.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Do you have unused funds in your HSA or FSA accounts? Why not put those pre-tax dollars to its best use, your health? Awaken 180 is an approved expense for HSA and FSA plans thanks to the recognized health and medical benefits that Awaken 180 delivers. And remember, those unused dollars might vanish at year's end. So let's make those extra pounds disappear instead. You might be thinking, wait until after the holidays to start Awaken 180. But here's a thought. The program is designed for real life, holidays included. With Awaken 180, you can enjoy celebrations, cocktails, and even those holiday feasts, all while losing weight. Don't wait for the new year to make a change. Use your HSA or FSA funds now for something truly impactful, your health. Start now and step into the new year with more life in your life. Call the solution for weight loss, Awaken 180 Weight Loss, at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Are you ready for the ultimate happy hour experience? Look no further than Bellwether, downtown's undisputed champion of good times. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m. Rally the team and head over to Bellwether. The vibe is full and the food is unbeatable. Free parking after 6 p on weekdays and all weekend. Bellwether Restaurant, where great food and the best happy hour in town come together for an epic win.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
With tens of thousands of satisfied patients across America, it's no surprise QC Kinetics gets 5-star reviews.
I'm feeling on top of the world because of QC Kinetics.
I'm able to do the things that I wasn't able to do for a long time.
I can recommend them highly. I would recommend QC to anybody.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I couldn't believe it. I honestly was skeptical, but the pain went from a 10 to a 0.
Real people with real lasting relief from joint pain.
QC Kinetics Regenerative Medicine is regenerating me.
I'm super successful, and I recommend everyone seek out QC Kinetics as an alternative to surgery.
This non-surgical approach is definitely the future.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Start your Sunday off with a cup of Joe and some sports medicine intel. This is Joe C. inviting you to join me and Dr. George Bari for Breaking Bones every Sunday morning at 7:30. And if you miss an episode, just look for Breaking Bones wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you're at home on the range, tee it up with the Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Tour news, local updates, and the latest gear. The Edwin Watts Golf Hour. Saturday morning at 10 on 1010XL.
Men suffering from ED or PE, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Prime Men's Medical Center. For a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. You'll even get a gift that enhances performance in the bedroom. Call 904-664-8217.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving, they can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Hey, Jags fans, are you tired of roof leaks raining on your parade? Don't worry, Universal Roof and Contracting has got you covered. Their expert team of roofers will get your roof back in the game so you can focus on cheering on the Jags. Locally owned and operated, they've serviced Florida homeowners for over 30 years. Visit universalroof.com to schedule your free estimate today. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The Jaguars and the Ravens, Sunday night as Baltimore at 10-3 comes to visit 8-5 Jacksonville. The first time the Jaguars will be on Sunday Night Football in, 15 years or so. It has been a long time. With that, we welcome in Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union. He does a terrific job covering the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Demetrius, how are you, man?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Demetrius, we're good. Thank you for the time. All right, you were up in Cleveland. But I got to tell you, I'm never a positive guy. Never, ever am I a positive guy. But the negativity that this fan base has exuded in the last two games, an overtime loss to Cincinnati, and a game in which Jacksonville had no right being in based on the way they played, yet they were in the game late in the fourth quarter. Demetrius, I don't get the sense the sky is falling like a lot of the fans do. What's your thought?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the sky is falling, and I said that last week too, and I think it's still true in that, we can obviously see how talented this group can be. I mean, we've seen it before. Yeah, they don't have Christian Kirk. Yeah, they don't have Walker Little, Cam Robinson, Jamal Agnew. All of those guys are out, but, they've been able to have success with other players. We've seen Evan Ingram have great games. We've seen Trevor Lawrence just dominate. Even last week, even without Kirk for most of the game, Trevor Lawrence was on his way to have probably the best game of his career. I think he might have led the league in passing yards that week, if not close. So I just feel like we've seen what they are capable of. It's just a matter. It really comes down to executing. I mean, you look at what Calvin Ridley did yesterday. I'm sure we'll talk about him a little bit, but just in what he wasn't able to do in terms of execution, staying in communication with Trevor, making sure that they're on the same page, getting yards when you need them, making big plays down the field when your guy's trying to go and give you a shot to go make a play. Those are the things that they have to execute on. And defensively, they're just not tackling well. They're not playing in space well. It seems like they're miscommunicating there as well. So that's something that they're going to have to clean up. And I agree with the fan base in that, hey, there's only 4 games left, so you don't have a lot of time to actually get this stuff worked on. All of that should have already taken place. So while I don't think the sky is falling, I do think that there is some concern with a caveat of, this team has shown us before that they're a pretty good squad if they can all play together and play the right way.
Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union. Injuries have ravaged this team, although every team is injured. I don't think Cleveland wants to hear anything about injuries. They've been without Nick Chubb and Deshaun Watson and Denzel Ward and you name it, and then they figured it out. But the Jaguars, Demetrius, it's interesting. There's only a month to go in the regular season, right? 4 games. Yet other than Kirk, I think most of the guys that are injured are probably going to be coming back in the next couple of weeks, right? I mean, whether it's Fatukasi, Campbell, Cam Robinson, Walker Little, most of these guys, Agnew even, are probably going to be back in there sooner rather than later. Is it a situation where it's about survival until those guys come back?
A little bit, but, you'd like to be able to do more with what you got, even if just like you said, no team is going to, feel sorry for the Jaguars, especially not the past 2 teams that they played. Joe Burrow out in Cincinnati, he's a top 5 quarterback, arguably, and he's out, and they're playing Jake Browning, who was in his second career start last week, and I didn't hear them crying about it. This most recent week, you have Joe Flacco, who was literally on his couch a few weeks ago watching the games on TV, didn't know if he was going to have a shot, got the call from Cleveland at the last minute before he was like, oh, I guess it's over, and he was able to come in and do okay. He in my opinion, he wasn't that great, but, he was able to lead his team to a win with the circumstances that the Jaguars were able to give him. So for me, this Jaguars team, yeah, they're going to be getting back guys like Cam Robinson. I think later he might be one of the more iffy ones, but Walker Little's going to be back. Tyson Campbell's going to be back. Trey Herndon's going to be back. All of these guys that are very pivotal to their success are going to come back. It's tough with Tyson just because of the nature of his injury, but guys like Jamal Agnew as well. You know, he's eligible, I believe. He just missed his 4th game, and now he's eligible to come back and practice if he's healthy enough to do so. And yeah, I do think that those guys are going to give them an added boost. It's something that they definitely need, something that they definitely have missed. But it really speaks volumes. If one guy goes out, it shouldn't collapse the entire team. Foley Fatukasi, a great guy, amazing, you know, perfect person in the locker room, has some good plays on the field. He had like 14 snaps over the last couple of weeks, you know, it not combined, but over, you know, cumulatively, he's had 14 snaps, you know, in consecutive weeks. And so that's not something where, are you really thinking that, you know, 14 snaps for him is going to really turn the table or turn the tide for the defense, you know? So I just really think that it all boils down to them needing to execute with what they got. They have the players. We've seen all of these players make plays. It's not like they lost their entire team. So yeah, I think that's where I'm at with it.
A couple of more for Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union. Demetrius, you mentioned Calvin Ridley earlier, and I'll lump Zay Jones into this. He's not without blame. Those guys were targeted 27 times by Trevor Lawrence combined against Cleveland. They combined for 9 catches. All right. Yeah. I had a buddy of mine text me during the 1 interception, and he blamed Trevor for it. And I said, look, Trevor Lawrence or Calvin Ridley, who do you think has a better grasp of this offense? And when Trevor is looking at Calvin and pointing to his eyes, obviously some miscommunication there, I'm going to assume that that's more on Calvin Ridley than it is on Trevor Lawrence. What is going on with Ridley and I guess Zay to a lesser extent? And it appears the fan base, at least on social media, Demetrius, has kind of turned on Calvin Ridley a little bit.
Yeah, it's really tough, huh? I mean, you come to the season thinking, you know, Calvin Ridley is the number one guy. He's talking up himself. You know, the fan base is talking him up. The coaches, Trevor, everybody's making him seem like he's Megatron. You know, he's one of the greatest wide receivers to exist. And when in reality, you know, he's never been in this position in his career. He's never been that number one, 100%, the number one guy on a team. He had that 2020 season where Julio Jones was, you know, injured, so he was able to get in there and he made some plays. He's an incredible wideout, but it's a matter of how much trust can you have in a guy who's just coming back from 2 years off of basically of NFL football. I understand he's had all training camp, all of this, blah, 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 you know, to get this right. But, you know, sometimes this stuff takes time. And maybe he's not the guy that everybody wanted him to be. Maybe he's not that. And so you have to go out there and find another guy. And I think that yesterday was a perfect example of when, you know, Trevor doesn't have his guy, Christian Kirk, that they are on the same page. Almost, they probably share a brain, you know, at this point in how long they played together. And, you know, you have to sort of try to lean on that Calvin. You have to lean on Zay. Zay's another guy that you mentioned, and he's another guy that, you know, him and Trevor have great chemistry. I don't think that there was any chemistry issues with Zay and Trevor yesterday. I think Zay just said it. He just had a terrible game. He just played awful. And sometimes, you know, players will do that. You have a 3-point shooter, you know, he's gonna miss some games. And I know that sounds like an excuse, but, you know, from the body of work that Zay has shown us, pre-injury especially, I think that he's shown enough to where we know that he's not just some random practice squad guy that you threw out there. You know, he's a legitimate receiver. I just think that they all have to get together, you know, regroup and sort of get on the same page because, you know, with 4 games left, there's not much time to do it.
Well, we're well over the 24-hour rule. So, I mean, look, expectations change as the season goes on. The number 1 seed talk is gone, and which I think is good, by the way. I wanted the bye week, but the home field advantage to me means nothing because the Jaguars are terrible at home. What good is having a home field advantage when you've gotten the crap beat out of you 4 times in your home stadium? So I wanted the first-round bye, but playing at home is what it is. The Jaguars are 2-4 as we're talking right now. But everything is still in front of them, right? Thankfully, Indianapolis and Houston lost, and Houston might have lost more than a game. We're waiting word on Nico Collins. We're waiting word on C.J. Stroud. You could argue the Houston loss to the Jets, very similar to the Jaguar loss to the Bengals. Not only a loss in the column, but they lost a lot of guys in the process. So Jacksonville, Demetrius, with tiebreakers, still the overwhelming favorite to win the AFC South for a second straight year. And to me, that's clearly the goal right now.
Yeah, I mean, everything's right in front of them. They can absolutely still win the AFC South. You got to think they're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who aren't as much of a pushover as people might want to think, in my opinion, just based on watching them. They seem like they have the talent to sort of, get them over the top in certain games, especially against this Jaguars team, how they're playing now. But you also play the Panthers, and then you play the Titans, who you've already destroyed at home. You go in there, it's the final week of the season. It should be a win. So, yeah, everything's right in front of them. The schedule isn't incredibly tough. Obviously, this upcoming matchup against the Ravens is probably going to be their most challenging matchup of the year. So if they can come up for that, then everything's good. And that's the funny thing. It's really a week-to-week league. I remember it feels like just a couple days ago, but it was a couple weeks ago when Jaguar fans, like you said, were saying number one seed, this and that, and how the Chiefs and the Dolphins aren't that great this year, actually, and how, it's going to be about the Ravens game, and it's going to come down to that for the number one seed. Now it doesn't look like that. So it doesn't really matter. You just have to win. You really need to go ahead and battle it out over these next 4 games, the last 3 especially. And I think you're right. The Texans are a team that's sort of reeling. They're kind of getting their own injury bug late in the season. It's not ideal for them. Who knows about C.J. Stroud, if he'll be able to, play this week. The Colts, in my opinion, are not as good as their record indicates. So you should count on them potentially losing at least one more game. So, yeah, everything's right in front of them. I don't think the sky is falling. I think that they – I would be surprised if they didn't win the AFC South.
Yeah, I would be surprised. It would be borderline a failure at this point if they don't win the AFC South. Again, final moments, Demetrius Harvey, Florida Times-Union. You look at the AFC as a whole, 11 teams are 7-6 or better, right? 4 of those teams right now are going to miss the playoffs entirely. To me, Demetrius, it's just about getting in, right? Is there a dominant team in the AFC? I don't really know. I mean, I guess you say Baltimore. We're going to play them on Sunday and see where the Jaguars stand. But Baltimore, it took a 75-yard punt return in overtime to beat a middle-of-the-pack L.A. Rams team in Baltimore on Sunday. Miami is good, but they haven't beaten anybody that's any good all year. The 3 teams they've played have boat raced them. And then Kansas City has obvious flaws. So, to me, the AFC, for the first time in a long time, it is an absolute battle royal right now. I don't know if there's a dominant team or not.
Yeah, there really isn't. I mean, if you count Baltimore, that's the one. Yesterday, I didn't watch the game, obviously, but it looked like they were struggling against the run. It seemed like they weren't, connecting that well, sustaining drives, things like that. And so, if you can catch a team like that, having a semi-off day, and now, let me preface this, Lamar Jackson still had 70 yards rushing. He still had 316 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, only 1 interception. So it's not like they were, this albatross of a team going out there against the Rams. It was just, a bad day defensively, but inconsistent day offensively, and they somehow got the win at the end. And good teams do that. And I think John Harbaugh is one of the best coaches, if not, top 3 coach in the NFL right now, just based on what he's been able to accomplish. So yeah, it's going to be a tough challenge. And I do think that you're right. This AFC this year is just not. I would be surprised if the AFC won the Super Bowl this season. It's very inconsistent. The Chiefs are one game away from losing the AFC West to the Broncos, who were, I think 1-6 at one point or something. So, it's wide open. I don't think that any team is going to run away with it in the AFC, and that's a positive for the Jaguars. As inconsistent as they've been, that means that if they do get into the playoffs, they'll be able to potentially play a team on a bad day. Maybe it's the Chiefs, and they'll be able to get one over on them finally. So yeah, I think that this is shaping up well for the Jags if they can sort of get back on track.
All right, Demetrius, leave us with this. We've been here before, right? A national showcase game at home. It happened in week 2, Kansas City. The Jaguars don't score an offensive touchdown. They lose. It happened after the bye week. San Francisco comes in here and absolutely humiliates them. It happened a couple of weeks ago, Monday Night Football, when Cincinnati came in here and won. They're 0-for-3 in what you would call big home games this year. Is there any reason to believe, is there any hope for Jaguar fans that Sunday night against Baltimore will be any different?
It's really tough to give any hope, if only because the last two performances they just weren't there. It just wasn't good. It's tough to see where exactly it's going to come from. I mean, you might be playing Blake Hance at left tackle on Sunday. I mean, there's so much, so much to learn about what the team is going through this week in order to sort of figure that out. But I really do think that, we've seen this team get hot, and they've played up to the competition before. The Buffalo Bills game is one that I think of in week 5. No one gave the Jags a shot then. And even then, it's not like they were rolling. It's not like the Bills were on their downward swing. I think they were 3-1. So it's definitely a tough matchup. It's something that you probably would any other year probably say they would lose, but this year's been strange. I think this Jaguars team has been strange. So they've been hot and cold, and all it takes is a few turnovers and a couple of touchdowns from Trevor, and you're good to go. So I really do think that there is some hope for Jaguar fans. I don't think that you should just burn all your jerseys. I saw people talking about burning Calvin Ridley jerseys. I think that's ridiculous. Just hold out and have fun on Sunday.
It's hard to believe there's still 4 games left, right? You want to talk about a marathon of a season. It seems like we've been doing this forever, and there's still a month to go and so much to figure out before the playoffs do arrive. Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union. Demetrius, I know you've been busy today, man. Thank you for taking time out, and we'll talk again soon, my friend.
I appreciate you having me on.
There you go, Demetrius Harvey of the Times-Union. We thank him every time he joins us here on Hacker After Dark. All right, so in case you didn't know, I assume most of you are looking at this on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis. If the playoffs started today, they do not, I'm aware of that, but humor me here, if they start today. In fact, the only AFC team that's been eliminated from playoff contention is New England. And there are all sorts of rumors today about Bill Belichick. The decision's already been made to move on from him at the end of the year. Again, they're simply rumors at this point, but that'll be something to watch. So New England's the only AFC team that's eliminated. Tennessee, the Jets, the Raiders, and the Chargers are all 5-8. It would take a lot to get them in the conversation, but they are all still alive with 4 games to go. The conversation really begins with the other 11 teams. If they started today, Baltimore's your number 1 seed. They have a bye. They have home field throughout the AFC playoffs. Round 1, 7 going to the 2. Indianapolis, the 7, would travel to Miami, the 2. The 6 and the 3, Pittsburgh, the 6, would travel to Arrowhead to take on Kansas City, the 3. And in the 5-4 matchup, Cleveland would come right here to Jacksonville in the 5-4. The 7 and 6 teams that are on the outside looking in right now, Houston, Denver, Cincinnati, and Buffalo. But I can tell you in particular, Buffalo, Cincy, and Denver, all 3 of them, they are coming. They are very hot right now. They have won a lot of games, a lot of confidence. So this AFC is going to be a mad sprint to the finish. Just so you know, in the NFC, San Francisco officially last night became the first team that clinched a playoff spot. So they're in. They would be the 1 if the playoffs started today. Green Bay would visit Dallas in the 7-2 matchup. You would have Minnesota going to Detroit in the 6-3 matchup. And you would have Philadelphia visiting Tampa in the 5-4. Again, the crazy thing about that, Philadelphia currently 10-3, Tampa currently 6-7. But Tampa would get the home game for being a division champion. So there you go. It'll change, obviously, every time an NFL game is played. But for the here and now, Cleveland would come to Jacksonville in round 1 of the NFL playoffs. Coming up next, a little on the National Basketball Association. We're already a quarter of the way home. Teams are approaching 25 games already. A lot of interesting storylines. The in-season tournament. Have you seen what LeBron James, at 38 years old, the guy's going to be 39 at the end of the month. He might be the best player in the league right now. He's insane. He's beating Father Time. And the biggest surprise in the NBA? Our neighbors to the south, the Orlando Magic, 16-7 through 23 games. We'll talk about all of it with my buddy Zach Hanshu, RotoWorld.com, covering the NBA. He's one of my NBA guys here on Hacker After Dark. A Tuesday night edition right here in Jacksonville, Florida with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
If you were given a chance to pick this week's games, could you pick them?
Of course.
It's 1010XL's weekly pick'em contest. You could win a barbecue feast from ABBQ at 1010XL.com.
You pick 'em.
Brought to you by MyBookie.
If you're looking for exterior solutions that provide you reliability and durability, it's time to call Armor Guard Exteriors. Whether you need seamless gutters or gutter protection, hurricane products, impact windows, glass lanais, or retractable awnings and screens, we've got you covered. Call My Home Team today for your 5-star experience at 904-906-8669.
Armor Guard Exteriors, committed to quality, and that's a promise.
Golfers, when's the last time you played Cimarron? New ownership, improved greens, fairways, and tee boxes, a new clubhouse, interior, exterior, including the Stone and Barrel Tap House, indoor-outdoor bar, live music. Practice, learn, and play program is only $59 a month. Unlimited range balls, weekly clinic from teaching professionals. Golf every day, $25 after 2 o'clock. Whether you scratch or just like getting out with your buddies, you have to try the new Cimarron Golf Club on 210.
Bold City Heating and Air is truly a family-owned and operated local company and treats all customers like family. Don't be fooled by the out-of-towner equity firms and national corporations that use local names. There's one name you can trust when it comes to your home's heating and cooling system. Bold City Heating and Air. Jacksonville grown and entirely loyal to this community. Schedule your winter maintenance by visiting boldcityac.com.
Are you looking for increased privacy and protection for your family and pets? Look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Superior Fence and Rail is Jacksonville's top-rated fence company, delivering the highest quality fence products. They'll treat your property as if it's their own. So get off the fence and get your privacy back. Call Superior Fence and Rail today for your on-site estimates.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On December 12, 1965, Chicago halfback Gale Sayers ties NFL record for most touchdowns in a game with 6 in the 61-20 victory over the 49ers.
Give the gift of joy this season. Players Grill is a Toys for Tots drop-off at all 3 locations. Bring in a toy and enjoy a free appetizer because spreading cheer tastes even better. Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets and gives this holiday season.
Come to Monahan Jewelers' 46th annual holiday sale now with up to 30% off on GIA certified diamonds and up to 40% off our entire store. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. We're not a big box store. We're your local family jeweler with an amazing hand-picked inventory for every budget. And with interest-free financing, enjoy beautiful jewelry with a low monthly payment. Support your local family jeweler this Christmas with up to 40% off our entire inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Open 7 days a week in December.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. Take a sip of your Brackish and enjoy the slightly salty air at the beach at Tide's Bar and Grill at Hampton Inn, Oceanfront, Jax Beach.
Denny Thompson here. This holiday season, tackle burglars and protect your turf. Give the gift of peace of mind. Catch everything around your home with Tyson Sound & Security's cutting-edge surveillance cameras. Whether you're traveling for the holidays or just cheering on your team, earn a big score on safety and convenience. Tyson has you covered for all home cameras and security systems. Call Tyson Sound & Security right now for the holiday season at 904-762-1000. That's 904-762-1000. Tyson Sound & Security, security and automation experts.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying. They can also signal a major problem or electrical emergency. So leave it to the pros and Mr. Sparky.
888-8-SPARKY.
Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. You know, so much talk about college football. We're in the heat of the NFL playoff race. But if you look on the calendar, the NBA is at the quarter pole. In fact, past the quarter pole. A lot of teams are approaching games 23, 24, and 25 of their regular season. The tournament is in the books. What a success that was for the NBA. And the Orlando Magic are maybe the biggest surprise of the entire league right now. With all that being said, let me welcome in my buddy Zach Hanshu, Roto World. He does a terrific job covering the National Basketball Association, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Zach, how you doing?
Morning, Ryan. I'm good, brother. How about yourself?
Zach, we're good, man. Thank you for the time. And all right, the in-season tournament. I thought it was weird. It was clunky. I'm not a big fan of point differential as a tiebreaker. Having said all that, I think it was an overwhelming success. Zach, what was your thought on it?
I think it was an absolute success. You know, obviously we had a blowout with the Bucks and the Knicks last week, but otherwise these were really close, competitive games. And the final two teams, obviously the only two undefeated teams in the Pacers and the Lakers, you know, they were both playing for that win. I mean, they were both really into it. Obviously, we've seen Tyrese Halliburton. You know, he was phenomenal last season, but I think a lot of people have kind of taken notice of him on the national stage this year. And the in-season tournament did a lot to highlight his skills right now as one of the best point guards in basketball. But then we got to see LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Davis with 40 and 20 on Saturday night, just absolutely obliterated the Pacers. And LeBron James, oldest player in the league, winning MVP of the tournament. Clearly he had some motivation to go out. So I think we got the perfect mix of stars. We got some young up-and-comers. We had LeBron in there. It was a huge success.
As far as the in-season tournament, obviously it's here to stay. And I got to tell you, when it comes to Adam Silver, I thought the play-in tournament to get to the playoffs was weird. I was like, why are they doing that? And I totally get it now. You know, it gives guys like me, Orlando fans, hope. I thought the in-season tournament, again, it was weird, right? But then I see it, I'm like, all right, I get it. Boy, Adam Silver, I mean, for a lot of the things he's done that have been questioned at first, he's hit a couple of home runs here, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, man. You know, the in-season, or not even just the in-season tournament, but like you said, the play-in tournament, yeah, I think a lot of people kind of rolled their eyes at that one at first. But it's very interesting when you get some teams on the bubble that can start to make a run that end up in that 7 through 10 spot, and all of a sudden the team that maybe wasn't going to have a shot at the playoffs, hey, what do you know? They're in the mix, and they're going to make some noise. So I absolutely I like that. I think even with the in-season tournament, I think they have room to improve upon that in the future. You know, because a $500,000 prize, that's pennies to a lot of these players, especially LeBron. maybe they can add some extra motivation. I've heard talk of, hey, maybe just guarantee a playoff appearance for whoever wins the in-season tournament. I know that's kind of taking it to the extreme, but they can always add some extra incentives in here and maybe motivate these players to go even harder. But for the first one, I mean, we saw a lot of motivation out there.
Zach Hanchu of Roto World covering the NBA. He's always with us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Zach, you mentioned LeBron. Time catches up on everybody, right? I remember when Michael Jordan and Dirk Nowitzki and even Kobe Bryant, I mean, you're talking about the legends of the game, guys that, there's a list of 10 or 15 people, and they're on there. Tim Duncan. And at 38 years old, they were either retired or they clearly weren't what they were, 3, 4, 5 years prior. And yet here LeBron is at 38, and you could still make the argument he is the best player in basketball. You've covered the league for a while, man. I mean, LeBron's a freak, is he not?
I mean, he may go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, athlete of all time. I mean, you put him up there. I mean, maybe we're being hyperbolic here, but, you talk about some of the greatest athletes. You're talking to Muhammad Ali. You're talking to a Jesse Owens, a Babe Ruth, some of these guys that kind of transcend sports. And what we're seeing from LeBron is, as you mentioned, oldest player in the league, 38. He'll be 39 here at the end of the month. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, if we ended the season right now, he's first team All-NBA. And he just won this tournament MVP. So he leads the league in fourth quarter points. Like that's absolutely insane that a guy that is pushing 40 years old is going out and getting more buckets in the final period of a game than some of these other young guys like a Luka, De'Aaron Fox, and some of these late game scorers that are much younger than him. So I think by the time it's all said and done, he'll go down as one of the greatest. And I heard something the other day. I like to listen to Colin Cowherd. And I heard something very interesting from him that I hadn't thought of, that Michael Jordan retired at 39. That was his final season, his age 39 season. So is LeBron cognizant of that? LeBron is an NBA historian. Is he keeping track of that and saying, wow, Jordan retired at 39. Jordan's final season was, we could all tell he was starting to break down. And LeBron is putting the league on notice saying, hey, this is me at 39, and I still have a long time to go.
It's a good point. Zach Hanchu of Roto World here with us on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Zach, we're on the Lakers. Are they a viable contender? I mean, it's early. They've already had a couple of injury problems. We'll see if Anthony Davis and LeBron can hold up for 60 more, regular season games. But do you think they're going to be in this thing the entire way?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it. You hit the nail on the head right there. Can they stay healthy, right? So if these guys are available, there's no reason to count the Lakers out of, title contention. They made the Western Conference Finals last season with an arguably worse group. I think they upgraded in the offseason. We have another season of Austin Reeves. They added some depth. They brought a few guys in that have, Gabe Vincent's been banged up. Taurean Prince, I think, has been good for them as far as a 3-and-D type of guy. Cam Reddish, who hit a couple of big threes in this, IST final, that LeBron came out and said, hey, this is one of my guys. This is somebody I have confidence in. So when LeBron and AD are healthy and they have guys that can space the floor and guys that can get stops, they're dangerous. And I think really on Saturday, the Pacers have just been white hot, man. Like, this is the best offense in basketball. They like to run. They like to get out in transition. They like to put up points in bunches. And the Lakers just completely shut them down. Tyrese Halliburton looked like a shell of himself in that game. And he's been ridiculous recently. And the rest of these guys, they were neutralizing them. Anthony Davis obliterated them in the paint. So I think when the Lakers are at their best defensively, they're a real problem. They're going to be tough to stop.
Zach Hanchu of Roto World. All right, biggest disappointments. We're going to get to the biggest surprise in a moment. I think certainly my beloved Orlando Magic top that list. But as far as disappointments, we're a quarter of the way home. What team is maybe not living up, Zach, to what you thought coming into the year?
I think we can look at a few teams. So out east, I'm not really too shocked by the top of the standings. You mentioned the Magic are great. The Pacers have been really good. I think we all kind of expected them to take that next step. And then your usual contenders, your Phillies, your Milwaukees, your Clevelands. But out west, man, like there's a couple of teams. The Warriors, I think, have been a huge disappointment. We're getting nothing from anybody except for Steph. Steph is maybe playing at an MVP level right now. And the rest of his team, Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, even Draymond Green to a lesser extent. These guys, they're showing their age, and they're, dare I say it, they're looking washed right now. The Warriors, if the season ended right now, they wouldn't even make the play-in tournament. So they've been very, very bad. And the Memphis Grizzlies, man, no Ja Morant, but this is a team over the last few seasons when he's missed time. People have lauded the Grizzlies for their ability to go out and win games when he's on the sidelines. And they have been an utter train wreck this season. They're sitting at 6-15 right now. They're at the bottom of the Western Conference standings, just a couple games ahead of teams like San Antonio, tied with Portland right now. And Portland has, kids and nobodies. So I think those two teams are the biggest disappointments, just of teams that didn't really make any moves heading into the season. But for teams that have already made a move in the season, the Clippers, I can't think of a team that's been worse than the Clippers compared to expectations. After they traded most of their bench depth for James Harden, this team has been a hard watch. They just have not seemed to click quite yet. And Russell Westbrook moving back to the bench might have won him a couple games, but he is really not a guy that can play off the bench. He needs to be out there and stay in rhythm. So this has been tough for the Clippers for sure.
Yeah, I just can't imagine why they thought trading for James Harden was a good idea. Look, they get paid the big bucks, and I know that's their job. It's what they think about 365 days of the year. But as a basketball fan, I don't know why they thought that was going to be a good move. It certainly has not worked out. What has worked out is to the south of us here in Jacksonville, our neighbors in Orlando. Zach, it's interesting because you and I have talked now for a couple of years. I'm a diehard Orlando Magic fan, and nobody's paid attention to them for good reason because they've been terrible. But because they've been terrible, they've been stockpiling, whether it's Cole Anthony and Franz Wagner and Jalen Suggs, and you make that trade for Wendell Carter and obviously Paolo, and all of a sudden these guys now, they got pretty deep roster. They're 15-7 at the time you and I are speaking, and the crazy thing is they're second in the East right now through 22 games, and they're without a lot of their guys. Carter's been hurt. Markelle Fultz has been hurt. Isaac has missed time, and it hasn't seemed to matter because this team is so deep.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Magic is you mentioned they are one of the deepest teams in basketball, and they're not necessarily names that jump off the page. This isn't a splashy roster, but then you look at the starters. You got Paolo Banchero, 42 points the other night. You got Franz Wagner. Both of these guys averaging 20 a game. You've been missing Wendell Carter. You've been missing Markelle Fultz for an extended period, and you're getting guys to step up like a Goga Bitadze, who's really showing that he's a great rim protector, came over from Indiana. Good pickup. You got a guy like Gary Harris, can space the floor and hit threes. You got a Mo Wagner off the bench, Franz's older brother. He can go out and hit a three. Cole Anthony has been a walking bucket this season. He has been on fire. And then you bring in a guy like a Joe Ingles who can give you maybe, 15 minutes off the bench. Jonathan Isaac, who you're only expecting to give you maybe 12 minutes when he's available. But he's really giving you some good production when he's out there. So, yeah, I'm really liking what Orlando's doing. And the big reason they're winning, they're second in defensive rating in the NBA right now. Their defense has just been phenomenal, and they've been able to neutralize so many different teams.
I love Nick Vucevic. He was one of my favorite Orlando Magic players. It was time for him to go a couple of years ago. I cannot believe, as we get further away from that trade, how awful a trade that was for Chicago. Not only do you give up Wendell Carter, and I'm not sure Wendell Carter, when healthy, isn't as good as Vooch is now at points in their career, but you use that pick to draft Franz Wagner, who is one of the best players in the league that's 25 years or younger.
Absolutely. And I think you and I talked about this preseason, but there was a anonymous poll of NBA GMs, and they said, which young player are you expecting to step up their game the most? And most of them said Franz Wagner. And I think we saw that over the summer at the FIBA World Cup for Germany. He absolutely came out and just showed what he could do. And him and Paolo, I mean, this is just a phenomenal 1-2 punch. And if you can keep these guys around for a decade, this team is going to go to the playoff. They're going to be a perennial playoff team. So in regards to the Vucevic trade, Chicago looks like they're about ready to blow things up, maybe send Zach LaVine out of town, and, they're not winning games. Wendell Carter has been a solid addition for the Magic, and the Magic are on the upswing big time, and Chicago they're in the toilet at this point. So, it's unbelievable how much the Magic won that trade.
Zach Hanchu of Roto World. Zach, as we say goodbye, you and I will do this again in a couple of weeks, so we'll be closer to the deadline at that point, but we're going to blink, and the trade deadline's going to be here. You mentioned Zach LaVine. That is the big name that you hear. Are you hearing any other names that could be on the move or teams are thinking about dealing them in the next month or two?
So I think the two teams that I would be looking at would be Chicago, obviously. It's time for them to blow up. And I think the Raptors are another team that we heard a lot of rumblings in the offseason about them, maybe an OG Anunoby, maybe a Pascal Siakam. This is a team that really they obviously traded Fred VanVleet. But what is or they let him go, excuse me, but what is their path forward? What are they doing right now other than competing for a fifth or sixth spot in the East and probably not even getting there? They're maybe going to languish in that play-in tournament spot if they can even get there. So I think they're a team that's probably going to look to blow things up and maybe start fresh. So I'd be looking for them to make some moves here as well.
Zach Hanchu of Roto World covering the National Basketball Association. He's one of our guys here on 1010XL. Zach, appreciate the time. Have a very happy holidays and a happy new year, and we'll talk to you in 2024, my friend.
Hey, you as well, my friend. Thank you.
Car buyers, are you in the market for a new vehicle? Are you noticing markup on vehicles on dealer lots? Well, come to Key Buick GMC, where we never have markups on our vehicles. Ask for Derek or Brian. In addition, Key Buick GMC is the only Buick GMC dealer with a lifetime powertrain warranty on all new Buicks and GMCs. Holidays are approaching, and we are your service headquarters. That's Key Buick GMC. We are professional grade across from Tinseltown, South Siding Gate, or visit us at KeyBuickGMC.com.
Why live with foot or ankle pain? If you have persistent pain, numbness, tingling, burning pain on the bottom of your foot, or swelling that doesn't improve with home treatment, it may be time to see Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. Our foot and ankle specialists have innovative new options to help you get back in the swing of things without persistent pain that slows you down. Call JOI 2000 or go to joionline.net for an appointment.
At ABBQ, they are turning up the heat on game day with a spread that'll make your taste buds do a victory dance. Football and barbecue always play together. I'm talking mouthwatering wings, juicy burgers, and tantalizing appetizers that'll keep your hunger in check as you cheer for your team. Come for the food and football, and stay for the teal-colored Jell-O shots. Your destination for a mouthwatering barbecue and an unforgettable game day. ABBQ, meet and drink with us.
Home of the Jaguars, WJXL FM, Jacksonville Beach.
The year is almost over. Do you need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt-free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Listen, if you have a ton of equity in your house, and Loan Pronto can help you turn that equity into cash, you can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards, pay off personal loans, or start that home improvement project. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact. So your 3% rate, it's protected. And with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line program, 90% of the time, there's no need for an appraisal. So you can get your money super fast. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards before the new year. Get yourself on solid financial footing before the year ends and call Loan Pronto now. 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Whether you are looking for a job or an employer trying to hire, there's only one stop in Jacksonville, Remedy Staffing. Labor trends keep us guessing. As employers, the job market's been strong. So what does that mean for workers' availability? If you're interested in the workforce solutions or how the Remedy team can help you, call or text Crystal at 904-329-9802. 329-9802, Remedy Staffing.
Hey, Jags fans, are you tired of roof leaks raining on your parade? Don't worry, Universal Roof and Contracting has got you covered. Their expert team of roofers will get your roof back in the game so you can focus on cheering on the Jags. Locally owned and operated, they've serviced Florida homeowners for over 30 years. Visit universalroof.com to schedule your free estimate today. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I've got an Awaken 180 update that you may not believe. I'm 4 weeks into the Awaken 180 program and down 23 pounds. 23 pounds in 1 month. You might be thinking, well, the holiday season has arrived. Now what? Well, I'm not sweating it because over Thanksgiving week, at a time when most are loosening their belt, I dropped 6 pounds. That's right, 6 pounds. Awaken 180 is just stupid easy. Who knew you could enjoy the holidays and still lose weight while eating and drinking and being merry? That's the beauty of Awaken 180. It seamlessly fits into your life, even during holidays, parties, vacations, you name it. If you're looking for real change, give yourself the gift that lasts a lifetime. You, looking in the mirror, happy, healthy, after dropping the weight, holding you back with the number one solution for weight loss, Awaken 180. Do what I did and call Awaken 180 at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or go online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hicken here, the Borland Groover Foundation proudly presents the annual March to Get Screened 5K race and 1 mile fun run. Sunday, April 14th, the race starts at 7 a.m. under the Fuller Warren Bridge. Their mission, raise awareness about colorectal cancer and related deaths. All proceeds benefit the Borland Groover Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
11 o'clock hour has arrived. Our late night show every Tuesday, 10 to midnight. 1010XL 92.5 FM for Hacker After Dark. Coming up in the 11 o'clock hour, we'll talk a little college ball, transfer portal, everything going on at Florida and Florida State with Brent Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You heard him on my radio show for years here in Jacksonville. Brent's my guy. There's no question about that. And we'll talk a little college ball with Brent Beard in less than 10 minutes. And Justin Barney coming up at the bottom of the hour from Channel 4. Quickly, Denmark, we got about 30 seconds. Apparently, Metro and Suburban is no more. The FHSAA Board of Directors has gotten rid of that. It's only a 2-year run for the whole Metro and Suburban deal.
Yeah, I saw rumors that it was probably going to be let go and probably going to go back to the normal. I'm fine with it. I kind of felt like everybody else that you didn't get a true state champion, so we're going back to old school A classifications, and we'll get our districts here probably within the next month or two.
We'll talk with Justin Barney at Channel 4 about all that coming up in less than half an hour. Brent Beard, Justin Barney, a lot to do in the 11 o'clock hour as we roll on a Tuesday night in Jacksonville, Florida. It's Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Are you looking for durable, longer-lasting siding? LP Smart Side Trim and Siding is made from engineered wood that features durability and strength, thanks to a process called SmartGuard. This process treats every Smart Side product to the core, with waxes, resins, and zinc borate, and adds an overlay to the product, which helps LP Smart Side Trim and Siding withstand moisture, hail, humidity, and helps provide resistance against termites and fungal decay. Visit your local 84 Lumber to learn more.
Hi, this is Soccer Sam for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's #1 pizzeria is now coming to Jacksonville, Florida. Do it with me. Salvatores.com.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the Southeast to offer multi-unit hair grafting and the 45-minute PRP treatments. Grow your hair back. Call now for a free in-person evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. 904-777-4477 or visit hairforme.com.
Eggnog in the carpet, wine on the sofa, dingy looking tile and grout, no problem. Call Zero Res. Zero Res technicians are cleaning freaks. Over 5,000 5-star customer reviews. Zero Res, spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lagerman. We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnit Outdoors Show, presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
So I have been in the operating room most of my career, watching people have orthopedic surgery, watching people get knees replaced, hips replaced, shoulders fixed, and I knew there had to be a better way.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director for QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain relief.
I see so many people who could have been helped before they got to the operating room if only they had known about regenerative medicine.
QC Kinetics, a natural alternative that uses your body's own healing properties to help restore and repair damaged joint tissue, providing long-lasting relief without drugs, surgery, or downtime.
Well, it feels great when I do get to see somebody who we help, who I know I kept out of the operating room. It's amazing how we change people's lives without surgery.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522. That's 904-274-5522. 904-274-5522.
Are you looking to maintain your cool? Look no further than Lloyd's Heating and Air. At Lloyd's Heating and Air, your go-to experts for all things HVAC. Whether you're building a new home, need a brand new AC installation, or just want to make sure your current system is running at peak performance, with a maintenance plan, we've got you covered. Our skilled team specializes in new construction HVAC, making sure your home or business is comfortable from the moment you step inside. LloydsHeatingandAir.com. CMC 1249834.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
Winter Jam is looking for volunteers for their concert event January 14th at Veterans Memorial Arena. If you'd like to help, email Skip at loopevents.org.
City Rescue Mission provides life-changing support for the homeless. Find ways to get involved at crmjax.org.
Pace Center for Young Teen Girls has been helping local girls realize and fulfill their individual potential year-round since 1985. To see how you can help change a young girl's life in your community, visit pacecenter.org.
Dreams Come True is a local wish-granting organization giving dreams and special times to local children battling life-threatening illnesses. Find out how you can help at dreamscometrue.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL at 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. It is a Tuesday evening, and we are glad you are with us. Boy, college football's regular season really ended Saturday if you count Army-Navy, and bowl season begins this Saturday. I believe 6 games kick off bowl season coming up on Saturday. Of course, it will culminate with the national championship game on Monday night, January the 8th. With all that being said, I welcome in my friend Brenton Beard. You see him locally on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Mr. Beard, how are you, sir?
Hank, there used to be a time in December to where after Army-Navy, there really wasn't anything going on into the bowl games. But now, unfortunately, we have created this scenario to where there is way too much going on. This week is, and maybe next week, is finals week for schools. We're about 8 days away from the early signing period, which basically is the signing period now. And obviously the transfer portal has been going on for a while, and it is in need of a roster to keep up with it. So, and this is something we'll discuss later is in the coming weeks. But Hank, the coaches have really got to do something about this schedule, and unfortunately they've created some of this themselves because there's just too much pressure. And we didn't really even mention starting bowl practice, did we?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I had Bill Bender on earlier this week, Brent, from the Sporting News. I think he does a terrific job. He made a great analogy. He said with where college football is in December, recruiting, the portal, everything going on, it would be like the NFL starting free agency on wild card playoff weekend. Yeah. There's just too much going on right now.
Yeah, and they've got to the easiest fix, and I know you've got to go through appropriate committees, but the easiest fix would be to move signing day to say end of August or first week of September, and to get it out of the way. At that point, a lot of these kids know where they're going, and then you can have one in February during that time too. And frankly, it really makes you wonder what they could do in tinkering with the dates of the portal in dealing with that. But suffice to say, it's great for us because we have things to keep up with this time of year, but I don't think it's good for the game.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also hear him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, since the last time you and I talked, which was a week ago, Princely Umanmielen, Trevor Etienne, and Chris McClellan, 3 guys that were going to contribute next year for Florida. In fact, Umanmielen, I thought he was going pro. I was shocked that he's going to stay in college and enter the portal. McClellan was going to be a starting D lineman. Etienne, we know what he can bring. They have all decided to leave Florida to look for greener pastures elsewhere. What, if anything, do you read into that?
Well, it's certainly disappointing. I mean, Etienne is a big-time running back who was, frankly, vastly underrated and more than anything else, vastly underutilized. This is a guy who should have had 25 touches every game, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. So what that means is you've got guys who would have been steady influences and steady performers who are not there anymore. Now, what some things that are going on again at Florida, they've hired Will Harris as their DB coach. He was the Georgia Southern defense coordinator at one point at Washington in 2021, and I've heard good things about him, but we'll see. And by the way, Jerry Odom, the ex-Florida linebacker, is the new DC at Western Carolina, and Pittsburgh has named Cade Bell is their new coordinator, also offensive coordinator, just to catch folks up a little bit. Florida had in Penn defensive lineman Joey Slackman over the weekend. I mean, he's supposed to be a pretty good player, so he was able to come in for a visit. They've also got a commitment from JUCO edge Brian Taylor, who is supposed to be good. 6'5", 270, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee involved. Now, I will couch this as somewhere between rumor and fact because it's from a website with A&M, and people may have missed this. Now, I understand that DJ Lagway is going to be in this weekend for a visit. I think it's an unofficial, but there was a Texas A&M website that said Texas A&M was going to meet with Lagway. So I don't know. I'm not saying there's anything to that. I'm not saying he's changed his mind. All that tells us is other schools continue to be interested. So, unfortunately for Gator fans, it as it has been, it's a mixed bag, isn't it, Hack?
Yeah, Brent, and the Lagway thing, we've known about A&M for a while. The proximity to his house, quite frankly, to where Texas A&M is. We know that he's been on A&M's campus several times in the Jimbo Fisher administration. And the thought was that he didn't want to run Jimbo's offense. They didn't see eye to eye, whatever it was. So when Jimbo got fired, the immediate thought I had was, oh, that's interesting. Whoever A&M hires, one of the first calls they make will be to DJ Lagway. And it doesn't surprise me at all that Elko is trying to do that, just simply to the proximity of where Lagway is from. But as you mentioned, the unofficial, I guess the official signing period in December is coming up in about a week's time. I'm still very confident that Lagway arrives at Florida. I'm not so confident about Xavier Filsaime, the 5-star safety. I think he's about to flip to Texas. There's no doubt that Billy Napier and the Gators are trying to hold on to this class, but I think they are going to lose some guys over the next 7 days.
Yeah, and you mentioned Princely a few minutes ago. He has been visiting Ole Miss too. That will be interesting to see where that goes. But and by the way, for A&M, they have hired Colin Klein as their offensive coordinator, well known in the Big 12 as a quarterback and also an assistant coach. So, heck, I would say yes, these next 8 days in Gainesville are going to be very important to as far as hiring coaches, as far as just to get some kind of good news. Now again, we don't know if Brian Taylor can play dead in a cowboy movie, but he's got some good numbers. Obviously, schools after him. So if the Gators can get something positive over the next week, it would help tremendously.
You see Brent Beard on First Coast News. You also get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, that gets me to the transfer portal. It's unbelievable. I think I read Arizona State already has 7 commitments out of the transfer portal. Yep. Arizona State played their last football game 2 weeks ago, and they already got 7 new guys. You know, you look at Max Brown. Max Brown started a football game for the Florida Gators 17 days ago against Florida State. Yesterday he committed to Charlotte and is already going to head up there and participate in conditioning for Charlotte 2 weeks after playing a football game at the University of Florida as the starting quarterback. So the transfer portal, I get it. Players have choices now and there's money involved, and I get all that. But good heavens, when you have thousands with a T, thousands of people entering the portal, it's a madhouse right now, Brent.
Well, to give you some quick numbers, and this was as of Sunday, South Carolina had 18 guys in the portal. They have got major problems as far as losing some of their best players. Vanderbilt has 18, Florida has 17, A&M has 16, Georgia has 13. I won't go into all of them, but you get the point. There are a lot of them who are in the portal. And by the way, Miami has 16, and Florida State has 13. So that to kind of get folks up to date. And again, we've got probably the portal's 30 days, and we've got another basically 2 weeks of it, and then it will calm down at that point, hopefully. But we have got to have this thing settle down. A lot of this stuff is players who are see if they can get a better deal. Let's just be honest about that. And again, the unfortunate thing about this is it makes schools look bad sometimes because they're losing players. But heck, let's be honest. We've also got schools, they don't have the money the bigger schools do. And again, we've talked about this for years, but it's further enhancing the haves and the have-nots, right?
No, it is. And like you said with the calendar and everything, I mean, you got teams preparing for bowl games.
Absolutely.
And you got 30 guys between Georgia and Florida State that have said, all right, I'm going in the portal. I mean, it is insane right now as two teams try to prepare to play each other, what should be a pretty good Orange Bowl matchup.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And look, real quick, let's also be honest about this. Some of this is just roster management, and some of this is the head coach of school X is sending a certain amount of players on their way to free up some scholarships so they can bring others in.
There's no doubt, and there's that, and it's also college free agency, and it's just the way things are. And by the way, Florida was not as active in the portal a year ago as many Gator fans believe they should have been. They've been awfully quiet so far now. I mean, you got Arizona State that has 7 commitments out of the portal already. I see guys going different schools every day. Not one commitment for Florida yet out of the portal. We'll certainly see what happens with that. Final moments here with Brent Beard. Brent, as we begin to wrap up, you are a Heisman voter. The Heisman Trophy was handed out on Saturday to LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels. You are now at liberty to give your ballot, who you voted 1, 2, and 3. How did Brent Beard's ballot look on Saturday?
Yeah, basically similar to a lot of folks. Jaden Daniels was number 1, and then Michael Penix was number 2, and Jalen Milroe was number 3. So, and by the way, people didn't see this. Jordan Travis ended up being number 5, and Milroe ended up being number 6. Cody Schrader from Missouri had a good enough year to where he ended up being number 8. Look, if you're a guy who comes on strong like Schrader, and you end up being the 8th best voting for the Heisman, I think that says a lot right there. So, yes, one of the problems with the Heisman, and you and I have been doing this so long, you probably remember this. We used to be able to talk about during the week before the award is announced who we voted for.
Yeah, stiffarmtrophy.com.
Yeah, and now we can't do that. And I'll be honest with you, I thought that gave the trophy and the Heisman Trust a lot of publicity. But now we sign a waiver, and I do it because I take the award seriously, that we're not supposed to give out who we're voting for. So, I think basically, we speculate during the week, but to me it just was a better situation when we were able to talk about who we voted for during the week. And I do hope eventually, this is sermon on another day, that we can get away from it being basically a quarterback award. You remember how it cycled, Hank? It was a running back award, then it was a wide receiver award, and now it's a quarterback award, and we can't quite get away from that at this point either. But and people, did you notice this? On Friday night, ESPN had their award ceremony, and it was a very scaled back compared to what we're used to. They basically did this, a much lighter version of what it used to be. They've got all a lot of the folks who were there at the Heisman, but in their overall awards situation, it was basically an in-studio situation. So I just thought that was quite different. And the other thing is, by the time they have the award show, heck, everybody knows who won.
Yeah, because it's pre-taped, obviously, and then the awards get seeped out during the day as well. Like, I knew the Biletnikoff, and I knew all those winners before they actually announced it there on television. You get Brent Beard on First Coast News. You get him weekly right here on Hacker After Dark. Brent, we'll get together next week before the holidays. We'll have some bowl games to review, and bowl season really begins to pick up next week. Some SEC teams will be in action. We'll talk about it next week, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, and folks need to enjoy Saturday. That's going to be another noon to past midnight. And look, I know people don't know all the teams, but still, if you love college football, it's a nice day to get it going. So, heck, always enjoy it, bud. Take care.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time homebuyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time homebuyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time homebuyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time homebuyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time homebuyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time homebuyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at TrustlineMortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
Get Gators play-by-play on 1010XL. Brought to you by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes, and I've got an Awaken 180 update that you may not believe. I'm 4 weeks into the Awaken 180 program and down 23 pounds. 23 pounds in 1 month. You might be thinking, well, the holiday season has arrived. Now what? Well, I'm not sweating it, because over Thanksgiving week, at a time when most are loosening their belt, I dropped 6 pounds. That's right, 6 pounds. Awaken 180 is just stupid easy. Who knew you could enjoy the holidays and still lose weight while eating and drinking and being merry? That's the beauty of Awaken 180. It seamlessly fits into your life, even during holidays, parties, vacations, you name it. If you're looking for real change, give yourself the gift that lasts a lifetime. You, looking in the mirror, happy, healthy, after dropping the weight, holding you back, with the #1 solution for weight loss, Awaken 180. Do what I did and call Awaken 180 at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or go online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Are you ready for the ultimate happy hour experience? Look no further than Bellwether, downtown's undisputed champion of good times. It's Tuesday through Saturday from 4 to 7 p, with the exception on Friday when happy hour starts at 11 a.m. Rally the team and head over to Bellwether. The vibe is full and the food is unbeatable. Free parking after 6 p on weekdays and all weekend. Bellwether Restaurant, where great food and the best happy hour in town come together for an epic win.
Happy holidays. If you're stuck for ideas for cool holiday gifts, 1010XL's Holiday Gift Guide is here to help. Get great gift ideas from Small Cakes Jacks, Superior Fireworks, and Brackish Vodka at 1010XL.com.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Here's a special message from our president.
Thanks, David. This is Jordan Harrington, president of Royal Pest Services. We'd like to thank everyone who has trusted Royal Pest for their pest control needs this year. Wishing all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from the Royal Pest family.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. Mad Dad's is asking for good, committed men who want to be part of an organization that has been around for 17 years. We are a group that is part of the solution, not the problem. We are a group that don't stand around murmuring and complaining, but get into action and hit the streets to get the community to break the code of silence to remove the murderers off our streets. We do not require a lot of time, just willing and able bodies to get involved. We've had far too many murders this year already not to get involved. If you want to be part of this great organization, call 904-718-1649. We're looking for men, not men acting like boys. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. For information about Mad Dad, go to Mad Dad's Jacksonville chapter Facebook or MadDad'sJacksonville.com.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Of course I use Mr. Clean Magic Eraser to clean tough messes off my stovetop and bathtub. But then I discovered I can also use it to easily clean my patio furniture and even my shoes. I'm hooked.
And when wipes won't cut it, I use Magic Eraser Sheets. They're thin and flexible erasers, perfect for everyday messes, like gunk on my counters and sinks. They really are magical.
The reviews are in. Mr. Clean Magic Eraser and Sheets make cleaning look easy.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Groover Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM, the high school spotlight here on Hacker After Dark, as the high school football season officially came in the books last week in the state championship games. Kudos to Bally Sports airing all the state title games. Really enjoyed that. Unfortunately, the three teams in our area all finished with runner-up distinctions, as none of the three were able to win over in Tallahassee. Let's break it down with Justin Barney of Channel 4. He's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL. Justin, how we doing?
Not too bad, Hack. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Justin, always appreciate it, man. All right, unfortunately, 0 for 3 in the state championship games. Let's begin with the closest one. Boy, Heartbreak City for St. Augustine. They battled what essentially I was told is a Volusia County all-star team in Daytona Beach, Mainland. It's where we are now in high school football. A lot of transfers for Mainland. They're within the rules, so regardless of what you think, Mainland was very good. Boy, St. Aug gave it everything, but in the end, Mainland gets it done with a last-second field goal.
Yeah, great game for St. Augustine on a just a special teams perspective. Took the opening kickoff back 96 yards for a touchdown by Trenton Jones. Blocked field goal, led to a scoop and score. But offensively, St. Augustine's big play offense just could not get it going against Mainland. Scratched out just barely above 200 yards, less than half of the season average. That defensive pressure really frustrated them. Mainland 505 yards in that game, but they struggled to get 21 points. St. Augustine really should have won this game. They had multiple chances to win, missed a field goal, missed a point after, touchdown, dropped a touchdown pass in the end zone. So just so many chances in that game, a couple fourth down conversions on the drive, the final drive from Mainland. So a disappointing finish for St. Augustine, their first state championship game since 2007. And I know Brian Braddock and those players really wanted that win, had a chance to get that. Unfortunately, the way the ball bounces, it did not happen. Great game by Mainland to kind of keep slugging away and getting it done. But St. Augustine, I've said it all throughout the year, I think they win a state championship either this year or next. Obviously didn't happen this year, but they have got a lot of talent, a truckload of talent coming back. Lachlan Hewlett, the big name. Carl Jenkins Jr., I think he's in that conversation as the best receiver in the area, along with Jamie French in that class of 2025. So I think St. Augustine will be right back. Don't know what playoff system that will entail it in. I think Suburban Metro will bite the dust at some point, maybe even this week. So St. Augustine will be back. I think they win a state championship next year.
Oh, no, that's very interesting. All right, I want to get to Bradford County and to Mandarin as well. Again, Justin Barney of Channel 4. We've had 2 years of the Suburban and the Metro, and for people that don't know what that is, you basically got your largest 6 counties in the state, essentially Jacksonville, Miami, Orlando, Tampa, the surrounding area. That's the Metro. The other 57 some odd counties, Suburban, and they don't play each other in the state playoffs. Justin, you believe that's going to go away beginning next year?
Yeah, I think that is on the clock. So they'll have a discussion this week in Gainesville, the Florida High School Athletic Association. They've got to reclassify the end of that cycle. comes out this year. And I think what is on the table right now is being proposed a radical new overhaul where it would add an open division in the state playoffs. That means the top 8 teams in the state would go into an 8-team bracket and play each other, and that would be interesting. This year that's along the lines of Cocoa, Buchholz, Chaminade, Madonna, Aquinas. Those kind of teams would go into that open bracket. I think it would create a fantastic product. You're not beating a Chaminade. You're probably not beating an Aquinas kind of team. So those teams would go in and battle it out in an 8-team tournament at the end of the year. And so Metro Suburban goes away and ushered in as a new playoff system. So that'll be discussed earlier today and also later on this week too. So be interesting to see what the new FHSA board. Remember, this new board is not voted on. It was appointed by Ron DeSantis. What this new board, this is really their first big order of business. So we'll get some insight on that this week on how that new playoff system will look.
A lot of people complained about Metro and Suburban, and if only the last 2 years, obviously those complaints were heard. Why did that system not work?
I think it's just different. They tried to do something differently, and you're not being able to split public-private. That's been kind of going on for decade upon decade. Just you're not going to split those two, and probably never will split those two. So they tried to get around that with Metro Suburban and take those heavyweights out and put them all in a group and do that together. I don't think that was as well received as initially thought out. And it had its perks, had its qualities, and teams like St. Augustine and Mainland probably not going to get through and be able to play each other in a system that would include other guys like an Aquinas or something like that. So I do think it worked how it was intended to work, but I think it's going to be refined once again as the playoff turnstile continues. We've been kind of going throughout this system since like 2015, 2016, kind of messing with the playoff system every couple of years to get the best teams in, and we're going to have another new system coming next year.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, quickly, the other 2 teams that lost in Tallahassee last week, Bradford County loses to Cocoa. I know that stings for them. Cocoa ended their season last year. They put a lot into this rematch. For Cocoa to end their season again, that had to be a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, tough one for Bradford, but again, you're 14-1, one of the best seasons in Bradford history, the best in terms of number of victories, 14-win season. Again, you just did not have the offense. As good as Bradford's defense was, that works until you get into a game where you're going to have to outscore some teams, and they can slug you in the mouth and hit you right back. So a big win for Bradford, no shame in that loss. I mean, a big senior class there, and again, Cocoa is what Cocoa is. I mean, they're a budding dynasty. Ryan Schneider is doing a great job down there. And again, Bradford, just not enough offense. And that defense has been one of the state's best for 2 years running. No shame in losing that game. Jamie Rogers, the ultimate program builder, getting it done down in Stark. And they will be back. Different looking team next year with like a lot of graduation losses, some foundational players, 6 of its top 7 tacklers, 4-year guys like Jason Clark, Khalil Cummings, Torrin Brazell, Dejon Shanks, Willie Paul, all those guys will be gone next year, but a great and memorable 2 seasons in Stark for Jamie Rogers and the Tornadoes.
Mandarin defeated Miami Columbus for a state title in 2018. Columbus probably had this one circled when they found out they were going to get a rematch with Mandarin 5 years later. Columbus gets it done for a state title last week. Tough ending for the Mustangs.
Yeah, and a good season for them as well. I mean, it's only the second time Mandarin has played for a state championship. They finished 11-4. Offense, defense just did not click well in that game. They could not stop Miami Columbus on defense. I mean, up and down the field. But Mandarin, a team like St. Augustine, bringing a ton of guys back. I mean, you're going to graduate, a Tiant Weiss, a running back. You're going to graduate Derek Plaz. You're going to graduate guys in that secondary. But you have talent coming back. You have Drake Stubbs coming back, Tramel Jones, Jamie French. A lot of talent coming back for Mandarin, and if you can keep that group together, in the world we live in nowadays in high school football, Hack, it's not always a guarantee of your team that you had this year coming back next year with transfers and everything along those lines. So we'll be interesting if Mandarin can keep that group together, which I think it will. And Mandarin is a team that will be right back there next year. along with St. Augustine, I do think Mandarin has a good chance to win a state championship. Again, we don't know the system that it will be in, but I do think Mandarin is going to be right back there again next year, and they're going to be right there at the end.
Final moments with Justin Barney of Channel 4 here on the High School Spotlight. Justin, the football season now is in the rearview mirror. In totality, how do you assess it? Good year for the area, although they did not bring home a state championship. Disappointing year. What's your thoughts?
I think overall a good year. You can't win state titles every year. I'm glad that teams played for a state championship this year. Last year, of course, that was not the case. The first time since 2000 that no area teams made the state championship game. Last year was the first of that suburban metro split, and good to see teams back in there this year. I think always you got to build on stuff and everything, but anytime you can get a Duval County Public School in there, like a Mandarin, a St. Johns County School in there, and a guy like a Bradford in there, that's a pretty successful season, regardless if the state championships come or not. 3 teams playing it out in Tallahassee for state championships, so I think a pretty successful year even without a championship.
Now the coaching carousel begins with the season coming to an end. The last 2 years, Justin, we've had massive turnover with retirements and dismissals and coaches going from one job to another job locally. I think last year it was 16 or 17 new jobs at these schools. We have the first big opening already this year in Sandalwood with Adam Geist not returning. Your thoughts on the Sandalwood job and how active do you think the coaching carousel will be here in the offseason?
I don't think it'll be as active as last year. Last year was we had 19, so closing in on 24 head coaching changes in the offseason, and almost a third of the area with new coaches this season than the ones they ended with last year. So of course Sandalwood is the big one. Adam Geist has been there for a little bit of time. He got his start at Paxson back in 2000, went 7-3 in his second year there, and he went to Sandalwood in 2002 and kind of in 2 stints. He was there for 6 years and then left in 2008 to kind of recharge and came back in 2009 and had been there until this season. Great continuity for Adam. He had so many good seasons, 8 seasons with 7 or more victories, 21 years in all. So just a good tenure there. And, that St. Augustine or the Sandalwood position, I think would have been better about 10 years ago when you had just an embarrassment of talent come through there. Adam has coached so many good guys, NFL players, Amir Speed, DeMarcus Walker, Rusty Smith, Darrell Richardson, Elite 11 quarterback and Jeff Sims, Chris Jones, NFL player, 17 times Union Super 11 guys there at Sandalwood. So Maurice Wells, a 3,000-yard rusher. So many guys have come through there. But if you've been to a Sandalwood game in the last couple of years, it's not the same. They don't have those numbers of bodies. I was stunned when I saw them play last year and again this year with fewer bodies. You're probably talking 40 guys on the sidelines, and that's for the biggest school in the area, that's not a good sign when you're struggling to get those numbers of bodies out there. So I think that job would have been better about 10 years ago, but in the world we live in, that is not the case, and somebody will go to Sandalwood and do a good job there, but that job is not nearly as attractive as it was when you're getting the bodies as you were getting maybe 10 years ago through there.
Yeah, I remember last year we had huge openings at Bartram, at Fleming, at Oakleaf. Just a lot of job openings. Atlantic Coast was another one. We'll see what happens this year. Again, remember, the teams that didn't make the playoffs have been gone for like 40 days already, so they are well in to their off season. Justin, final question. You mentioned reclassification. The FHSAA, like you said, is meeting. What are we thinking for districts? Is it going to be drastically different than what we've had the last 2 years here locally?
Well, what we've, obviously classifications will shake up districts and everything like that when you see those new numbers. But another proposal in the new system is an in-season district tournament. So you would take the top 4 teams in the district, you would seed them 1 through 4, and they would be an in-season district tournament in weeks 10 and 11 to get a district champ. So that's another thing that is on the table. Obviously, classification numbers will be divvied up by student population and everything. So we will have teams going up in district and up in classification. That is a given. I think we'll see some new, more creative district assignments. I don't think we'll see suburban metro back, but those, stay tuned for that. That'll shake itself out over the next week and really over the next month as classification numbers and student population reports come out.
Wow, that's really interesting. Looking forward to seeing when those things actually come out and how the changes do affect affect the game that we cover on Friday nights. Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, we'll do it one more time, hopefully next week, because the first signing period is on the horizon. I know there's a lot of local guys that we'll be putting pen to paper next week. Not necessarily to break down the names as we say goodbye, but will there be a lot of guys next week putting pen to paper here locally?
Absolutely. We'll have a ton of guys, a good class, but I do think our next year is even stronger than this one when you got guys, Jamie French, Tramel Jones, Drake Stubbs, those kind of guys. But certainly we have a big class this year. You've got Colin Hurley this year. You've got a Camden Fryer at Columbia. You got a lot of guys coming out this year that'll sign early, and it'll be a fantastic early signing period. But class of 2025, from this area's perspective, we have got a loaded class coming next year.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, always appreciate it, my friend. We'll do it again next week.
Take care, Hack. Thanks for having me.
Now, today's takeaways, brought to you by Key Buick GMC, where our family dealership has been helping families buy vehicles for over 50 years.
And thank you to Justin Barney of Channel 4 for joining us tonight here on the High School Spotlight as high school football season in the rearview mirror. Although, like Justin said, a lot of changes are on the horizon for the 2024 season, and of course next week, the first early signing period. So we'll have a lot of young men in our area that will sign on the dotted line to go and play college football. My big takeaway of the evening, well, the main one that sticks out is I've talked to quite a few people over yesterday and today and looking ahead to this Baltimore game on Sunday. And I got to tell you, there's a lot more people that are picking Jacksonville to win this game than I would have ever thought. Now, I will go ahead and tell you I am not one of them. I said on the fifth quarter, and I will say it every night this week, I'm going to have to be wrong because I will not pick Jacksonville to win a showcase home game, if you will, until they do. They have fallen on their face against Kansas City, San Francisco, and Cincinnati all here at home. So I'm done picking the Jaguars at home until they actually win a game. So I'm picking Baltimore, and I feel confident in that. But I am surprised. I've talked to a couple of national guys that cover the league, and you'll hear those conversations coming up tomorrow and Thursday night on Hacker After Dark, that are both picking Jacksonville to win. Just sort of interesting to me. And the reason they did it is they like the matchup. They think the Jaguars match up well with the Baltimore Ravens, and we will certainly see what happens on Sunday. A very big game, 10-3 Baltimore and 8-5 Jacksonville. Well, that'll just about do it. It has been a crazy busy Tuesday night edition of Hacker After Dark. We certainly appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. We have a ton of people to thank. Again, Justin Barney of Channel 4 here on the High School Spotlight. Thank you to my friend Brent Beard. You see him on First Coast News. You get him weekly here on Hacker After Dark talking about the world of college football. Thank you to Zach Hanshoe of Roto World covering the National Basketball Association. We're past the quarter pole already, if you can believe that. Most teams are approaching their 25th game of the regular season. And how about my beloved Orlando Magic? 16-7 in Orlando, right now second in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be a lot of fun with that young nucleus down there. And also Demetrius Harvey of the Florida Times-Union stopped by in hour number 1 to look back on Cleveland and certainly look ahead to this big ball game against Baltimore. Now, we will be back tomorrow night on a Wednesday, a little earlier. We're in for Baloo tomorrow night from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So we'll have Hacker After Dark for you from 6 to 8 here on 1010XL and on 92.5 FM. Dylan Denmark was your producer tonight. Dylan, great job as always. I'm the Hacker Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for staying up late with us on a Tuesday right here on Hacker After Dark on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Hey, it's Matt Hayes. Want even more excitement on game day? Then test your skills at PrizePicks, the best way to win big on fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players,